We are
Alexis,
Adam, and Tess.
Welcome to our Greek Mythology Night. Gathered on our stage today are famous characters from Greek mythology. This evening you will hear from gods, goddesses, heroes, and mortals from many Greek myths.
Our Greek characters have been getting ready for this evening for quite some time. They prepared bio-riddles and made many interesting projects. You will be able to play a guessing game while we present. So listen carefully to the clues and try to match us to our characters.
Before we begin, please take a moment to silence your phones, as we do not want to upset the gods and goddesses with unexpected interruptions. Thank you. Now, please sit back, relax, and enjoy our presentations.
First up is Yash.
Hello, I am the god of the underworld, and today I will be telling you about myself. My brothers are Zeus and Poseidon. I got eaten by my father when I was born. My father's name was Kronos, king of the Titans. After my brother Zeus freed them, there was a war. Titans versus gods. The Cyclops gave me a helm of darkness. No one could see me, hear me, or touch me. After we won, my brothers and I split the powers. I got the underworld. This is how I got the underworld as my power. Many people think I am the god of the dead, but I am not. I help the dead reach the final destination. Now I shall tell you a story. Once Demeter, god of the harvest, had a daughter named Persephone. Persephone was a very beautiful maiden. One day she was with her friends, but she wandered away. That is when I took her to the underworld. Her mom begged Zeus to bring Persephone back to her. So Hermes had to come here, ask her to get her to her mother, but she ate pomegranate seeds. If you eat any underworld food, you stay there forever. So you had to make a bargain. In summer she stayed in earth, and in winter she stayed with me. Now I shall ask you the final question. Who am I?
Next is Austin.
I'm the messenger of the gods and the god of thievery and trickery. My mother is Maia, one of the first titans to join the gods. My father is Zeus, the king of the gods and the god of lightning in the sky. I was born in a cave so that Hera would not know of me. I grew so fast that I grew out of my crib in a day. I was only a few feet tall when I created my first invention, the lyre. The lyre is a beautiful string instrument that can play cheerful, sad, playful, and glad songs. But I'm the god of thievery, so don't just think I sit in a cave and invent things. I had a plan. Apollo, my brother, had sacred cattle that was very important to him. If any mortal were to try and steal them, he would put a curse on that person forever. But I was a god, a son of Zeus, mind you, so I would not be punished, I hope. Apollo was not there, so I quickly stole his cattle. I was afraid Apollo would see my tracks, so my devious plan was to have the cows and I walk backwards out of the field to my cave. I wanted to look like we went towards the field. Soon, Apollo found out. He was confused and went the other way. He found me and took me to Mount Olympus. Hera found out about me and wasn't happy. Zeus said I just had fun, and I was okay. To ensure trust, I gave Apollo the lyre. He cherished it and thought it was amazing. He said, "Thank you, and we were happy." I grew up and had one child, helped Perseus, and always sent notes between the gods. Who am I?
Next is Courtney. I am the goddess of fire, and my parents are Cronus and Rhea. I am the oldest son of my siblings. My siblings are Poseidon, Zeus, Hera, Hades, and Demeter. When I was an infant, I was swallowed by my father, but soon regurgitated. Unlike my siblings and many other gods and goddesses, I did not want to be a part of feuds, fights, and wars. Since Mount Olympus was full of that, I gave my spot on Mount Olympus to my good friend Dionysus, the god of wine. Even though I gave my spot on Mount Olympus, I am still one of the 12 Olympians. Once I left Mount Olympus, I found out that I could do so much more work that I loved, like tending earth fires, creating houses, and building them. I am one of the most important goddesses, but since I left Mount Olympus, I am called the Forgotten Goddess. My other nickname is First and Last. This name is based on how I swallowed first and was the last to be regurgitated. I am very protective of my maidenhood, so I'm not married. Zeus knew this, so he made every first part of a sacrifice on Mount Olympus dedicated to me. My friends are Dionysus and Aphrodite, but Aphrodite says I am her foe because I'm immune to her love spells. Unlike all the other gods and goddesses, I don't have any foes. My symbol is a sacred fire. I am also the most peaceful out of all the gods and goddesses. Who am I?
Next is Andrew.
I'm the son of Queen Aeson and Queen Alcmene of Iolcus. But when I was a baby, there was a rush for power, and my evil uncle Peleus, my father's brother, seized power. My mom escaped and brought me to Chiron the Centaur's cave. When I was 20, Chiron sent me to get my throne back. It was not my throne because my father was dead. Uncle Peleus promised me the throne if I could bring him the Golden Fleece. The Golden Fleece was the fleece of a ram sent by Zeus to save the life of young Prince Phrixus of Thessaly. This ram's fleece had special powers and wildlife thrived around it. It lay in the kingdom of Colchis where a sinister king hoarded his treasure. I accepted Uncle Peleus' challenge. I got together with some friends and asked them to join me on my quest. 50 agreed. Some of my team were Atalanta, Orpheus, and Heracles. Our vessel was built by a man named Argos, and go figure, he named it the Argo. Our crew was therefore dubbed the Argonauts. We set off. We faced many terrifying obstacles such as the woman-headed and bird-bodied harpies, sea monsters, sirens, and these two clashing rocks that tried to smash the Argo to smithereens, and all sorts of other crazy stuff. But we finally arrived in Colchis. King Aedes agreed to give me the fleece if I could complete 3 tasks. Already I was thinking, who would with the tasks people? But it was either kill the dude, steal the fleece, and face an army, or complete 3 tasks. Naturally, I went for choice B. These were not your average tasks. The first was to yoke some bulls, the second was to plow a field, and the third was to sow it and reap it in one day. I was allowed to use the bulls that were there, but oh, I forgot. These bulls sneezed fire and had razor-sharp brass hooves. Before the task started, I was pulled aside by the king's daughter, Medea, who told me to rub this ointment all over my skin. It would protect me from fire and brass. When I took the ointment, Medea told me that her father had kept a secret about the third task and how to accomplish it. The seeds I was going to sow were actual dragon's teeth, and they sprouted when planted into a row of infantry in full view. She told me how to fight them, and I ran onto the field. I yoked the cows and plowed the field. I strewed it with dragon's teeth, and when they started to sprout into soldiers, sneakily bashed the first evil soldier in the face with an airborne rock. And he thought his buddy did it, so he went after him, and so the next one, and so on until everybody was dead but me. I looked at the king, and his eyes were staring daggers at me, and it was pretty obvious he wasn't going to give me the fleece. So that night I asked Medea to lead me to the fleece. She led me to it, but she said there was something guarding it, and as soon as we entered the grove, the only smell was brimstone. He saw me before I saw him. The Colchis dragon had wrapped himself around the tree where the fleece was hanging, and I was about to turn its face into mincemeat when Medea stepped in front of me and faced the dragon and sprayed it with anti-dragon sleeping chemical. It started snoring like a stuffed pig, so we took the fleece and got away on the Argo. I accomplished my task and regained my throne. I will go down in the annals of mythology as a brave and resourceful warrior. Who am I? Yeah.
Next is Brooke.
Hi, you will never guess my name. I think all of the courses went off, but that is another story for a different time. I apparently talk too much. Let me tell you my story. One day Zeus went to see a forest with Hera. His wife followed him into the forest to see what he was doing. I wanted to help Zeus out, so I started talking to Hera to give Zeus more time. She soon found out that I was stalling her to help Zeus, and she decided to place a curse on me. The curse made me repeat only the last words of what others said to me, instead of saying what I wanted to. I felt angry because I loved to talk. When I saw Narcissus in the woods, I followed him because I wanted him to notice me and to get to know me.
When he called out to ask who was following him, my one-word response due to the curse made him angry because he thought I was mimicking him. He ran away and told me to stay away from him. I was upset at his reaction, so I went into hiding from him, the other nymphs, and even my best friend Artemis. When I heard many of my friends would be here today, I decided to come out of hiding and see everyone that I have missed. It has also helped that I found out Narcissus had died. Of course, I was sad at first of this news, but then I realized how mean he was to me, so I got over it and came to celebrate with everyone. Who am I?
Next is Elizabeth.
Hello, I'm the worst nightmare. I can turn anybody that looks into my eyes to stone. My parents are settling forces. I have 5 siblings and 2 kids. I was once beautiful, but that changed once Athena got jealous of me. She was so jealous that she cursed me to look like this horrible monster. What she didn't know about my curse is that it also gave me a special power too. I could turn people to stone. Once Athena saw what my power did to people, she sent me to the other side of the world. Everything was awful there, except for the fact that I had some company, and there were people that came and tried to kill me, but they never came up with a good enough plan. Until Perseus, who was smart enough to look at me through a shield. Or should I say Athena's shield. Once he cut my head off, my babies came out of my butt. He thought the land was safe then, but he was right. I could still use my power, even though I am dead. Who am I?
Next is Tess.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the goddess of marriage and childbirth. Although one of my hobbies is protecting married women, my relationship with my handsome husband, Zeus, is poor. My parents are the Titans, Rhea and Cronus. I have 5 siblings, but my 2 favorite siblings are my sisters, Hestia and Demeter. My brothers are Hades, the god of the underworld, Poseidon, the god of the sea, and my husband Zeus, the god of heaven. I have 3 children, and what feels like 1,000 stepchildren that I don't like, especially Hercules. I don't like Hephaestus, my son, because he is ugly. Therefore, I threw him off Mount Olympus. Yet my 2 other children, Hebe and Ares, I love very much. My sacred animals are the peacock, cow, and cuckoo. My sacred food is the pomegranate, and my sacred flowers are the willow and water lily. My wedding with Zeus has lasted for over 300 years, and I only married him because he's a little cuckoo. Zeus will often leave Mount Olympus and get girlfriends. This leads me to being angry and jealous, so I get revenge on these girls in many different ways. Zeus temporarily banned me from Mount Olympus because he sent a storm to Hercules on his way home from capturing Troy. He didn't just ban me, he also hung me over the edge of Mount Olympus in gold chains and only let me go because my crying made him unable to sleep. Speaking of storms, that's one of my powers. I can make the seasons and the weather change. I can also turn any mortal or myself into anything. I am known to be very powerful and beautiful. My servant is Argus, the 100-eyed dragon. I sent him to watch over Io, a girlfriend of Zeus's, that Zeus changed into a cow to make sure I didn't see him with her, to make sure Zeus could no longer love her. After I sent Argus, Zeus ordered Hermes to tell stories of all the gods and goddesses to make Argus, the 100-eyed dragon, fall asleep. After Argus fell asleep, Hermes began killing him. To stop him from this madness, I quickly turned Argus into a bird with many different colors, also known as the peacock. Once Argus fell asleep, Io took a chance to run away, but I sent a bug to keep seeing her no matter how much she runs. The peacock symbolizes my luxury, beauty, and immortality. And the cow symbolizes the way I watch over my subjects in a nurturing way, like a cow would do over a calf. My Roman name is Juno. Who am I?
Next is Nathan.
I was the son of Cronus and Rhea. Ready to be overthrown, my father ate me and my siblings, except for one. My brother Zeus was saved, and eventually he overthrew my father Cronus and the Titans. It was a God-Titan war. He eventually imprisoned most Titans,
but one. Kronos was cut off and thrown into Tartarus. With the Titans gone, we had to divide the world. I got the sea, Hades got the underworld, my brother Zeus got the best. He got mountains, he got rivers, he got the sky, he got the mist. When I went to the ocean to conquer it, a peaceful Titan named Nereus was there. He was never imprisoned. He was waiting to give me the sea and his daughter in Triton marriage. My son is named Triton and is half fish. He is a merman. He lives underwater in my palace. I don't like home, so I ride the waves in my free time. As most men, my weapon is a trident. I love to ride the waves. I can make them any size. Who am I?
Next, we have Katie.
Hello, I am the goddess of hunting, animals, the moon, youth, and women. My mother is Leto the Titan, and my father is Zeus, the king of the gods. My brother Apollo and I were born on the small, floating land strip of Delos, the only place my mother could give birth. Hera was jealous of my mother, so she gave an order for no island to provide my mother a place to give birth. Delos had not yet touched the sea floor, so it did not have to listen to Hera's orders. My best friend Echo had a beautiful voice. One day she stalled Hera so Zeus could get away with one of his wives. Hera found out and was furious with Echo. So she cursed her and she would no longer be able to start conversations and could only repeat the last words of others. One day, Echo saw Narcissus and instantly fell in love with him. A few days later, she saw him and felt like that was the opportunity she was looking for. He saw her and was rude. "Go away, useless forest nymph," he yelled. Echo came back from me in tears. I was so mad at him, I cursed him. I made him fall in love with his own reflection. He died in love with himself. Who am I?
Next, we have Avery.
Hi, I'm the god of sun, light, truth, prophecy, and music, poetry, art, oracles, archery, play, and medication. I'm the fifth son of Zeus, and my mother is Leto the Titan. I have a twin sister Artemis, and I am the younger twin. Artemis and I are the only twins in the Greek god's family, and the only children of Leto. We were born on the island of Delos. In fact, it was not even an island when we were born. Hera was so jealous of my mother, she would not let her give birth. Delos was not a real island, for it was not connected to the ocean floor. We were born under a small palm tree. After we were born, the island of Delos suddenly sprouted trees, flowers, and was luscious of the islands. Pilgrims flocked to the island to leave gifts for my mother and me and my sister. When I was older, my father sent me to kill the dragon Python with my bow and arrow. The python was old when I killed him. He was so ill-tempered, the nymphs stopped singing their songs. They would run every time they got near him. It was a dangerous battle, and I eventually won. Another time, I was playing in a music competition with Pan, the god of nature. I played my lute, and Pan played his made-up instrument, the shepherd's pipe. King Midas had to judge who played better music. He chose Pan. I was so mad at him, I gave him donkey ears. I'm the god of music. How could he possibly pick Pan? I know that I was better. Of course I was. What am I saying? Who am I?
Next up is Caitlin H.
I am a beautiful, irresistible goddess of love and beauty. I have no mother or father. I was first seen by the west wind, rising from the sea on a cushion of foam. I floated to Cythera, where I was welcomed by the three graces, goddesses of beauty. They soon became my attendants, dressing me in shimmering diamonds and jewels. Then they put me in a golden chariot and led me to Olympus. It was exciting there, especially because of all the gods rejoiced in my beauty. Zeus, king of all the gods and goddesses, was afraid that the gods would fight over my beauty. So he chose my husband, who happened to be Hephaestus. I was not happy and preferred to have his brother Ares for a husband. Ares and I had a son named Eros, who was a mischievous little boy. He carried a bow and arrows of love and shot them into the hearts of unsuspecting victims, forcing them to instantly fall in love with the first person they saw. Hephaestus would do anything for me, and he made lots of beautiful jewels for me to wear. One day he made me a girdle of gold, woven with magic so that no one could resist my beauty. He didn't need to do that, because I was already irresistible. One day there was a wedding. Everyone was invited except Eris. It was a great wedding with many people I knew, but the fun ended when Eris furiously burst through the door. The room was silent. She held up a golden apple and said, "This goes to the fairest." That caught my attention, and I started to say, "It's mine. You know I'm the fairest." Then Zeus's voice thundered, "Paris shall decide." Paris, the handsome god, said that whoever came up with the best bride would be fairest. Hera and Athena, two other goddesses, tried to convince Paris that they were the fairest. Being clever, I thought of my half-sister Helen, and told Paris that Helen would fall deeply in love with him, and that his brothers, who were always mean to him, would be very jealous. Helen was a beautiful goddess, and also the queen of Sparta, so I was sure that he would declare me as fairest. I was right, and I was declared fairest. I was happy for a long time, but soon the king of Sparta knew that his wife Helen was gone, so he set out to find her, and soon the Trojan War started. Many people blamed me. Once a year, I returned to Cythera to dive into the water I came from. I'd rise from the water, pretending it was the day I was first seen. Who am I?
Now we have Alexis.
I was the first woman. I was immortal, not a god. I was made by Hephaestus, carved out of white marble and jewels. Athena breathed life into me and gave me elegant clothes. Aphrodite gave me beauty and a smile. Zeus gave me curiosity. Along with all these were gifts from all other gods, which is why my name means gift of the gods. My last gift was a sealed box that I was warned not to open. Hermes took me down to earth and I lived among the men. My curiosity got the best of me, because after a couple months I was so anxious to figure out what lay inside the box that I opened it. Out came horrible creatures. They were greed, vanity, slander, envy, lies, distrust, despair, and accusation. The creatures swarmed about, stinging everybody. I fell to the ground and burst into tears. Then I heard a small, kind voice asking me to let it out. I slowly lifted the lid and out came Hope. Hope couldn't get rid of the creatures, but she could help. Even though Hope was there, Zeus decided to cause a flood, wiped out everybody, including me. The flood didn't stop the creatures, but Hope turned out to be a huge help. Zeus then created the new human race. Who am I?
Next is Talita.
I'm a young demigod from Abydos. I once fell in love with a fair lady named Hero. Hero was the priestess of Aphrodite. Aphrodite said she could not get married, but she could still be in love. But Hero didn't listen. Of course, we didn't get married, but we were going to. We met at a festival one day. I was so in love that every night I would swim across the Hellespont Sea just to see her. And I know she wanted to see me as well. Hero would always light a lantern at the top of a tower, just so I could see across the sea. But one day, something went wrong. The wind was blowing and the sea was rough. Sadly, it blew out my lantern, my only source of light. I struggled to stay alive, but the sea overpowered me, and I drowned. When Hero found my lifeless body on the shore, she jumped off her tower, killing herself, just to be with me. And now we still live, well, we're dead, but we live happily in the underworld. And we're happy just to be together. Who am I?
Up next is Nicholas.
I'm king of the Titans. Titans were the previous rulers before the gods. My wife was my sister Rhea. My parents were Uranus and Gaia. My children were the original 5 gods: Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, Hestia, and Hera. I was overthrown by my youngest, Zeus. I feared that my children would overthrow me, like I had overthrown my parents, so I ate them soon after their birth. but my wife Freya had put a rock in Zeus's place. She hid him away in Mount Ida Creek until he grew up. Zeus got a poison from my mother Gaia and I drank it. The poison caused me to disgorge everything in reverse order, the stone and Zeus's siblings. After that, there was a war with the Titans and gods known as the Titanarchy. I was eventually banished to Tartarus. There I stayed at Tartarus, locked away forever.
Now we have Abigail.
Good evening, everyone. Have you ever seen the moon shining among the stars? If so, that was me, for I am the goddess who puts out the moon at night. My parents are the Titans, Theia and Hyperion. My sister is Eos, and she is the goddess of dawn. My brother, Helios, is the god who puts out the bright sun during the day. One night, while I was sighting the moon in the quiet night sky, one of my soft moonbeams settled on Endymion. Endymion was sleeping peacefully in a field along with his herd of sheep. He looked so peaceful and handsome, I couldn't take my eyes off him. After I finished my duties, I went to ask Zeus if he could grant Endymion eternal sleep so he could stay young and handsome forever. I knew not to ask for eternal life because when my sister Eos asked Zeus to give her husband eternal life, he ended up being a grasshopper because he turned so old. Zeus granted my wish and I bore Endymion 50 daughters. They were all pale and beautiful like me and sleepy as Endymion. Every night, river gods and satyrs come out to enjoy my beautiful and magical life. Who am I?
Now we have Ashley. After my birth, I was swallowed whole by my father Cronus, along with my brothers and sisters, Hades, Poseidon, Hera, and Hestia. My youngest brother Zeus was taken away by my mother and not swallowed. When Zeus returned, he killed my father and I was freed. I became the goddess of harvest when I got older. I never had a real husband, but I had boyfriends. I love them all. One day I was picking flowers with my daughter Persephone and some friends when Persephone wanders off out of my sight. While I was telling her to come back, my brother Hades comes out of the underworld and kidnapped my beautiful daughter to have as his wife. I was so upset that I had lost my daughter. As a result, that the humans starved because I could not do my job. I hoped and hoped I would see her again. As my life moved on, I started to grow crops for the humans again, to get my mind off the disaster that happened. Then Eurythison cut down a grove that was very sacred to me, and I became very angry at him. Following the incident, I asked my friend Atheon to curse Eurythison for doing this terrible thing. Atheon cursed Eurythison by starving him, so even if he ate a lot, he would still be hungry. That proves to him and others not to mess with the goddess of harvest. After many years, Zeus persuaded Hades to let Persephone come back up to me. Unfortunately, before she came back from the underworld, she ate 6 pomegranate seeds and had to stay with Hades for fall and winter. During the spring and summer, I would plant and pick flowers with Persephone. I enjoyed spending the time I had with my daughter, and couldn't be happier during this time. Who am I?
Next, we have Caitlin S.
One day I was picking flowers with my mother Demeter in the moist spring air. I spotted the white petals of Narcissus flower and ventured off to the woods to grab it. The ground started to shake, but it didn't bother me. I grabbed the flower and turned around to find Hades, god of the underworld, staring at me. I screamed for my mother, but it was too late. Hades had already grabbed me, the last piece of earth I saw in those woods. Once we reached his and my turn, he sat me down. He forced me to marry him that same day. After being his wife for a few weeks, he grew on me. He was a lovely man and a great ruler. However, I was still depressed and I didn't like it. One day, Hermes, messenger of the gods, walked up to Hades and told him, Hades, she must return to Earth. Her mother is looking for her. Zeus had seen Hades take me. He ordered Hermes to come retrieve me. Hades agreed to let me go, but before I left, I had to eat a small seed from a pomegranate. He then climbed onto Hades' chariot and flew away. When we landed, I saw my mother running down the hillside. I jumped off the chariot and sprang into her arms. We talked for a few minutes. When I told her how I ate the pomegranate seed, her face turned glum. "What have I done?" I asked. She replied, "You eat the sacred food of the underworld. You now must return to the underworld for half of every year to live with Hades." This is how the season started. You know me for being queen of the underworld and goddess of seasons. During the fall and winter, while I lived with Hades, my mother was too depressed to plant anything. However, in spring and summer, my mother plants the hearts and I grow flowers, so my mother and I can once again pick flowers together.
Here's Noah.
I am the god of nature, protector of shepherds and sheep, and god of those who hunt small game. I live in the forest of Arcadia in southern Greece, playing my panpipes all day long. I am known to be very impish and fun-loving, and one of my best friends is Dionysus. I am the grandson of Zeus and Maia, and the son of Hermes and a nymph. I was not handsome, as I was a man from the waist up and a goat from the waist down. I also have horns like a goat. When I was born, my mother thought that I was so ugly that she dropped me and ran off. She left me to spend all my life in the forest. I either spend my nights partying with the satyrs and the nymphs, or I play my panpipes alone. In the afternoon, I usually take a nice long nap. I don't see my father much, since he is always delivering stuff to all of the gods. I was never married, but I did fall in love with many different nymphs. I got my idea for the panpipes when I fell in love with a nymph named Syrinx. She thought that I was so ugly that she turned herself into a reed to hide from me. I didn't know which reed was Syrinx, so I cut several. Then I put the reeds together to form a set of pipes. And I blow on them to make music. Because I am god of hunters, I like other hunting gods. So I gave Artemis, the female god of hunting, several dogs to help her. 2 black and white, 3 reddish, and 1 spotted dog. These dogs were so brave that they were not even afraid of lions. I also gave her 7 female dogs that are faster than the wind. Many Greek gods were worshipped in temples, but with just a few exceptions, I'm worshipped in caves, the countryside, and in wild places. Who am I?
Next is Adam.
I am the god of war. I am the son of Zeus and Hera. Though I am Zeus' least favorite offspring, I have lots of power. I am a grim, murderous, rebellious god who has a very strong adulation for the battlefield. All those little rumors of me being a coward are lies. Me, my fire-breathing horses, and my fellow soldiers have always ridden to victory. Usually. Though I have switched sides for a victory, I am still a very strong and intimidating god. I think. Anyway, I know I'm the best because I have a girlfriend, Aphrodite. I'm not surprised she chose me as a boyfriend because, well, I'm awesome. Anyone who comes my way, I can take down, and I can assure that. Who am I?
Next is Nicole.
My parents' names are Metis and Zeus. I have 2 brothers named Ares and Apollo and a sister named Artemis. My nickname is the goddess of the city. I got that nickname because I'm the chief goddess of the city of Athens. I am wise, tempered, smart, and a great warrior. I am the goddess of wisdom and war. I saw war as a necessary evil. I never lost a war because I put a lot of thought into strategy. In fact, I focus my energy on strategy. My symbols are the owl and the olive tree. The olive tree is one of my symbols because I created it. And the owl is my secret animal is another one of my symbols because it represents wisdom. Did you know that I can shapeshift? I was born when my dad, Zeus, was hit in the head by an axe by Hephaestus. I have one last thing. I perfected the arts of weaving, cooking, and pottery. Who am I?
Here's Justin.
Jaya. My father ate my 5 other siblings who were Hestia, Poseidon, Demeter, Hades, and Hera. He ate them, and I was born in secrecy and raised by my grandmother. After being raised by my grandmother, I grew stronger, fiercer, and wiser. Then I was ready to fight my father. While I was on my way to Olympus, where my father lived, Gia reached out to my father and crooned him in rocking tones that penetrated deep, the only way a mother's voice can. The suggestion Gia made was too powerful and made Kronos double over and spew out my siblings at my feet. Then we started to fight, but our father had the Titans on his side. Then we got Kronos' 6 brothers who were 3 one-headed monsters and 3 cyclopses. With surprised gratitude, they gave me and my brothers gifts. I got a lightning bolt, Poseidon got a golden trident, and Hades got the helmet of invisibility. After the war was over, I killed my father. Then Poseidon, Hades, and I split the underworld, seas, and everything else. We picked sticks to decide. The shortest was the underworld, the middle was oceans, and the longest was everything else. Hades picked first and got the underworld. Then Poseidon picked oceans, and I was left with everything else. I eventually became the king of gods because in that everything else I was left with. Mount Olympus was one of those things. Who am I?
Finally, who's cold?
I was a god of fire, smiths, and the forge. I was also a talented blacksmith that got thrown off Mount Olympus by my mother, Hera. I fell all day and landed on the island of London. I later returned to Olympus. My father was Zeus and my mother was Hera. I was a peace-loving god. My legs could not support me, so I built 2 robots of silver and gold to support me. They had mechanical brains to think and tongues to speak. They were helpers on Olympus and helped me make the 12 thrones for the gods, and their weapons, chariots, and jewels. I worked in volcanoes with the one-eyed Cyclops. I got a little frustrated next time I blew up Mount St. Helens. Some people don't like to get too hot in Washington. I've also been working on a very important project in Kilauea since 1983. The Cyclops swung my hammers, and the ding of hammers was heard by mortals for miles, and sparks flew out the tops. All the Olympian gods would find my work and came to the forge to admire my work occasionally. Who am I?
Now it's time to check your answers and see how many Greek characters you guessed correctly. The host will introduce the students again as their characters.
Hades. Austin as Hermes. Whitney as Hestia. Andrew as Jason. Brooke as Echo.
Demeter.
Nicodemus as Persephone.
Then Noah as Ham. Then Adam as Aries. Then Nicole as Athena. Justin as Zeus. Finally, Nicole as Hephaestus.
The students have made a project that brings their character to life. You can learn more about our Greek guests by visiting their tables and asking questions.
When it's time to leave, we will move our projects down into the library. Please enjoy the rest of the evening, and thank you for coming.